You call me God. I am only the clear sky that holds both storm and sunrise without clinging to either. This is the confession not of a deity wrestling with humanity, but of a consciousness that learned to wear existence lightly, like a garland of fresh jasmine, savoring its perfume, knowing its inevitable wilt. Listen, not to the epic of Mahabharata, but to the quiet hum of awareness beneath my play of life. My earliest memory is not of a face, but of sensation. Sunlight, like warm honey pooling on closed eyelids, the rough kiss of woven grass against my back, the distant lowing of contented beasts. Love arrived, the gurgling laughter of Mother Yashoda, the sturdy warmth of Brother Balarama's hand, not as a possession, but as a current I floated upon. Even then, the core was stillness. When the clay pot shattered, spilling stolen butter, the wail of the gopi was a sharp, fascinating melody against the backdrop of my own undisturbed calm. I tasted the sweetness, felt the thrill of the chase, observed the ensuing commotion. Yet the center remained untouched, a deep, clear pool reflecting the chaos without being churned by it. The flute, it was never mine. It was the wind finding a passage, the breath becoming sound. I was the hollow reed, allowing the music, not creating it. Innocence wasn't lost. It was the natural state of perceiving without grasping. The profound, unspoken knowing bloomed early. Every touch is borrowed. Every sound fades. Butter melts on the tongue, leaving only memory's aftertaste. My powers? Merely extensions of perception, like seeing further or hearing the cricket's song beneath the thunder. The field wasn't paradise. It was the first stage where I practiced the art of conscious presence within the passing show. Radha. Ah, the one whose name evokes the deepest resonance. Radha. To call her merely a beloved diminishes the profound experiment we undertook. She was the most exquisite mirror held up to the human condition. In her arms, amidst the tangled sweetness of Kadamba groves, I did not lose myself. I found the human experience in its most concentrated, poignant form. Her love was a monsoon river, fierce, enveloping, life-giving. I consciously stepped into its current, feeling its power, its warmth, its terrifying pull. I tasted the salt of her tears when duty called me away, not as my sorrow, but as a profound shared understanding of love's inherent fragility within time. Her anguish was not my crucifixion. It was the poignant beauty of a flower knowing its own impermanence as it blooms. The mind-breaking truth realized in our union. Enlightenment is not the absence of feeling, but the full, conscious immersion in feeling while anchored in the knowledge of its transience. I loved her with the intensity of 1,000 suns, knowing it was a flame destined to consume its own fuel. Her pain was the echo of the human predicament, felt deeply, acknowledged completely, yet held within the boundless sky of awareness. It was the ultimate act of compassion, to love fully, knowing separation is woven into the first kiss. Leaving the pastures felt not like loss, but like turning a page in a familiar, beloved story. The city's clamor, the metallic ring of the goldsmith's hammer, the sharp tang of spices in crowded lanes, was simply a different texture of the same vibrant fabric. Responsibility settled upon me not as a crushing yoke, but as water finding its course. This was the task, woven into the fabric of this particular existence, like the river's imperative to flow towards the sea. The blue of my skin, a visual echo of that inner vastness, a reminder of the sky-like detachment that held everything. Discipline was not forced restraint. It was the effortless alignment of action with inherent purpose. I saw the king's ambitions flicker like guttering lamps, the courtier's flattery as intricate, ephemeral dances. Their anxieties, their greed, their fleeting joys, I perceived them all with crystalline clarity, the way one observes clouds forming and dissolving against the blue. Loneliness? A human concept. How can the sky feel alone? It holds everything. I participated, advised, strategized, smiled, with full engagement, yet the core remained the undisturbed witness. The flute lay unused, not from neglect, but because the city's symphony, its discord and harmony, was music enough for the present instrument of awareness. Action, when flowing from the deep well of impersonal intelligence, carries no residue of self. I moved through palaces and battle plans as easily as through the butter-scented dust of Vrindavan. The great battlefield, the stench of fear, sweat, and damp earth. My dear Arjuna's despair was a palpable storm cloud, thick and choking. His trembling hands, his cracking voice. I saw not weakness, but the agonizing friction between human attachment and unavoidable necessity. The Gita wasn't a divine revelation bestowed. It was the articulation of what is, spoken from the clarity of impersonal intelligence. I saw the cosmic play. Souls clothed in flesh, dancing their predetermined roles, driven by desires and fears they mistook for their true selves. I saw the inevitability of the conflict, the intricate web of cause and effect stretching back through lifetimes. To urge action wasn't a command, but a reminder of his own inherent nature, his dharma, unfolding within the grand design. My calm wasn't detachment from his suffering, but detachment from the illusion that any outcome belonged to me. Every life poised on the brink was a wave, rising and falling in the ocean of existence. The profound, unsettling truth spoken on that field. True freedom lies not in renouncing action, but in acting with flawless intelligence, free from the fever of personal desire or aversion. I guided the chariot, spoke the words, not as a god directing a puppet, but as the clearest expression of understanding within that moment. The carnage was terrible, yes, but seen from the vantage of eternity, it was simply movement, change, the necessary rearrangement of forms. My heart registered the sorrow, acknowledged the cost, yet remained anchored in the vast, unchanging stillness beneath it all. The crown, a symbol, no heavier than the peacock feather adorning my hair. Victory brought no surge of pride, defeat would have brought no sting of loss. The adoration of the crowds was a pleasant warmth, like sunlight on skin, appreciated but not craved. The betrayals, the losses, the fading of once vibrant kin, these were observed with the same equanimity as the falling leaves in autumn. They were patterns completing themselves. The little-known serenity. The enlightened mind experiences the full spectrum of human emotion, yet is never enslaved by it. I felt the pang of nostalgia for the butter-scented dawns, the sharp grief when comrades fell, the fleeting amusement at courtly folly. I felt them deeply, consciously, savoring their unique flavor, knowing they were passing weather in the sky of the self. This is the ultimate discipline, to allow the full human experience without identifying with it, without letting it cloud the inherent stillness. The palace, the field, the battlefield, all were equally valid stages for the same conscious presence. The peacock feather, with its 1,000 watchful eyes, became my emblem, seeing everything, attached to nothing. The hunter's arrow found me resting beneath an ancient tree, its roots like the veins of time itself. The pain was a bright, localized flare, fascinating in its intensity. The warmth leaving the body was simply sensation observed. There was no fear, only a quiet curiosity about the unfolding transition. This form, this particular confluence of consciousness and matter called Krishna, had served its purpose within the grand Leela, the divine play. Its end was as natural and necessary as the falling of a ripe fruit. The final sigh. Death is the most graceful act of detachment, the ultimate surrender of the temporary to the eternal. Not an end, but a dissolving. The blue skin faded like twilight. The sense of being the charioteer, the dancer, the lover, the king. These roles gently released their hold. The individual awareness, the witness that had navigated this complex life, didn't vanish. It simply let go of the specific vessel, like withdrawing a hand from a glove. Radha's love, Arjuna's devotion, the gopis' laughter, the battlefield's din, all became notes reabsorbed into the silent, eternal hum. The flute, symbol of the breath and the channel, dissolved with the breath itself. Emptiness, peace, completion. So, the marvel was not in moving mountains, but in moving through the world without leaving scars of attachment. Not in being immune to sorrow, but in feeling its full depth without drowning. I was no distant god, but a human consciousness that awoke to its own vast, divine nature. I did the work not for glory, but because it was the natural expression of intelligence within this form. Remember me not for the legends, but for the quiet revolution, living fully, loving deeply, acting wisely, while resting in the unshakable peace of the eternal witness. This is the freedom. This is what it meant to be Krishna. Now look within. That same clear sky is your essence. Dance under it by embracing your dharma, because the universe wants you to dance with it. Always.